Okay, good morning everyone, or good afternoon. Welcome to this Ahsay Partner webinar. Today we'll be discussing our newly released Microsoft Exchange 2016 MailLevel Backup Recovery. Okay, before we start, some quick housekeeping reminders. During the webcast, all participants should be muted, and you may ask questions by using the question function. Today's session will be recorded, and we will share the replay link with you after the broadcast. We also share today's slides with you too. At the end of the session, there'll be a short Q&A session. I will answer the most relevant questions on there, and the remaining questions will be answered by us offline. Finally, there'll be a quiz. You get a chance to win a fabulous online Christmas shopping coupon. And finally, please complete a short survey after the seminar. Okay, this is today's agenda. First, let's start off. There'll be a polling question. That's if you don't mind answering. The question is, how many of your clients are currently using Exchange 2016? I'll give you a minute to give you guys a minute to answer the polling question before we start with the rest of the webinar. Okay, so thank you for filling the question. And so next start the webinar. Okay, as you know, well, some of you may know, Exchange MailLevel Backups are an essential and often overlooked element of a data protection strategy for any Exchange server. MailLevel Backups can add value in the right circumstances, as individual mailbox backups provide a quick and convenient recovery option for administrators, especially when they have to quickly recover missing items like mails, contacts, or panicking users who realize they've accidentally deleted or lost very important emails or other items. Now, although a MailLevel backup cannot be used by itself to recover an Exchange server, nevertheless, comprehensive data protection and recovery strategy should involve the use of both a database and MailLevel backups. So, the question is, why choose Ahsay to protect mailboxes, your mailboxes on Exchange 2016 server? Well, I think the first is I think we have flexible backup solutions. Ahsay supports backup of user mailboxes, public mailboxes, and public folders, and so forth. And also, it's very flexible. You only select the folders required or the specific items needed for backup. Two, I think we have flexible restore options. You can restore the whole mailbox contents, or just choose one or a few emails, or restore mail items to the original mailbox or an alternate mailbox. You can even restore mail items to an alternate mailbox on another server or another domain. Third is obviously data security. There's we have high level of data security with AES 256-bit encryption to protect sensitive email contents. And fourth, cost effective. The license is based on per user mailbox, so you only pay for the mailboxes that you back up. Okay, now next we're going to discuss the enhanced backup performance and reliability specifically for Exchange 2016 MailLevel. There are two major enhancements for the Exchange 2016 MailLevel backup set, which improves the backup performance, reliability, and also support for backups of large number of mailboxes. So next, look at them in a bit more detail. So the improved backup performance and reliability obviously is achieved by, one, the increased number of concurrent threads used for the Exchange 2016 MailLevel backup. And also, we have a newly designed indexing structure to improve the reliability and resilience. Okay, let's talk about performance. Now, the default setting for the Exchange MailLevel 2016 MailLevel backup set supports a backup of 4 mailboxes concurrently, that's 4 threads. In addition, each of the mailboxes supports a maximum of 4 mail items concurrently, another 4 threads. So basically, this translates into a total of 16 concurrent backup threads. And this compares with a total of 4 threads for other Exchange MailLevel versions, like on 2013 or 2010. Obviously, this is only the default setting. This also can be tuned for higher level of threads. Okay, let's talk about index structure. Now, the index file structure has been redesigned to improve the reliability of backup restores. Now, each Exchange 2016 mailbox will have its own individual index file instead of relying on a single index file for all mailboxes within the backup set. Now, this new design eliminates any potential I/O performance bottlenecks when the index files are updated during each backup jobs, which can occur when using a single index file structure for a large number of multi-threaded concurrent backups. Another advantage with multiple indexes is that we have one index file per mailbox, is that it significantly improves the overall resilience of the backup restore operation from index-related issues. For example, in the unfortunate case of some index file corruption, it will only affect it may only affect the index file related to a specific mailbox or mailboxes, and not the whole backup set. Now, let's discuss the advantages of an Ahsay MailLevel based recovery. First advantage is of a MailLevel recovery is obviously you do not need to require a complete restoration of the Exchange database. And obviously a MailLevel recovery supports recovery direct to a production Exchange server. There's no service interruption or downtime incurred when using a MailLevel-based recovery. Third, mailboxes do not have to be disabled and can function normally during the recovery operation. Basically, the recovery is transparent to the end user. They don't know that it's happening until obviously their lost mails are, magically appears in their mailbox. 4, obviously, we support recovery of mailbox items to alternate mailboxes. So not just the original, you can recover to any number of mailboxes within the same server. And finally, as specific items can be selected to restore, a MailLevel recovery can be completed in a matter of minutes. So it's very quick. Okay, let's talk about go through quickly the requirements for an Exchange MailLevel backup. Well, there are three types of requirements. Obviously, Ahsay, there's Exchange, and there's Windows. So let's go to Ahsay requirements first. So in order to back up the MailLevel 2016 MailLevel, you will need a CBS and OBM to be on the version 7.1508 or above. And you will need obviously an OBM cow, and also you need a Microsoft Exchange mail add-on modules, and that's one module for each mailbox. For Exchange, the Exchange 2016 Exchange server has to be on update 4 or above. Things like the mailbox role must be enabled on the Exchange server, and obviously for DAG, the mailbox role should be enabled on all nodes. You should allow, obviously, the Exchange server should allow incoming connections via port 443. And the mailboxes, the hide from address list must be unchecked for the mailboxes to which you wish to back up. Now, for the Windows permission setting, it's pretty straightforward. The Windows user account, which you use to authenticate the backup, must be a member of the following security groups, like discovery management, organization management, and obviously if you want to back up public folder items, you must be obviously have public folder management, member of the public folder management group. And finally, for remote deployment, which is a new feature for 2016 on version 7.15, OBM can be installed on a remote machine to back up the Exchange server, and obviously it must be a Windows machine. And for example, you can install it on Windows 7, 8 to 10, or on Windows 2008 to all the way to 2016. For full details of requirements, please refer to the MX Exchange 2016 MailLevel Users Guide. Okay, on Exchange 2016, we've implemented obviously a new API basically using the Microsoft EWS API, Exchange Web Service API, which this enables OBM to access, export the mailbox items such as mails, messages, and stuff like that for backup and restore. So, what are the advantages? What are the advantages of using EWS? Well, there's no additional installation or complicated setup required on the Exchange 26 server or remote backup machine, unlike like CDO, installing CDO objects or configuring mapping. 2, it only requires port 443 to be opened on the Exchange server. That's it, and also there's an improved backup restore performance of EWS versus the CDO mapping. Okay, basically all this equates to a very quick and painless setup of Exchange 2016 MailLevel as compared to previous Exchange versions like 2013 or 2010. Okay, let's do a quick overview of our deployment options. Basically, on Exchange MailLevel 2016, there are 2 deployment options. We have the traditional on-server deployment option, which you may be familiar with if you've used our previous version of Exchange 2013 or 2010. Basically, OBM is installed directly on the Exchange server for backup. And also, if you've used it on, for example, on OBM, if you used it for DAG, it's the same. You have to install OBM on each of the nodes. So it's one, and then you share one backup set for all DAG nodes, and this is true for 2016 as well. Now, for the new deployment option, which is the remote backup option. Now, for example, OBM can be installed on the remote Windows machine, and the remote machine can connect to the backup server either via the LAN or the internet for backup and restore. And this will support a standalone Exchange server, and also for DAG as well. It's even simpler. So for example, if you want to back up MailLevel on the DAG setup, you just need one OBM cow onto one on the remote machine, and you'll take care of the whole DAG setup. And again, obviously, the remote machine can connect to the DAG setup either via LAN or internet for backup and restore. Now, for recovery, for the traditional deployment, on-server deployment recovery is same as on previous Exchange servers. OBM needs to be installed on both the production and standby Exchange server to perform the mail recovery. So there's no change there. But difference is on the remote deployment. Now, OBM can be used to recover mail items to production or standby server simply by just entering the login credentials of the standby of the new machine. And then you can restore your mails to the standby machine very easily without reinstalling. And this setup is the same for even if on the DAG setup as well. Okay, so let's quickly go through the comparisons between the deployment options. Okay, say for backup, for example. So if you're installing OBM on the server, on the Exchange server, obviously the backups will utilize the Exchange server resources, so it may impact on the server performance. Although there is minimum performance issue with the transfer of mail items from the Exchange mail store to OBM, as OBM is on the same machine. Okay, if the load on the Exchange server is already high, obviously this can maybe, running a backup on the Exchange server can maybe impact the backup performance as well. So now, compared to a remote backup machine, the backup jobs will utilize the resources of a remote backup machine. So there's a limited impact on the Exchange server when the backup is running. Now, the backup, but the backup performance can be affected by the network connection speed or stability between the remote backup machine and the Exchange server, especially if the connection's over an internet and it's a slow connection. Obviously, the advantage of remote backup deployment is that maybe for general backup performance issues can be resolved easily by installing OBM on a more powerful machine. Okay, let's talk about backup of large mailboxes. Now, difference is backup of large mailboxes obviously could take more time if you're running a backup on the Exchange server. For example, obviously, it may not be possible to run multiple mail server backups concurrently on the Exchange server. For example, if you're backing up 1,000 mailboxes, as it may affect the server performance. So you may be limited to just one backup set. And obviously, on one backup set, you can only have a total of 16 concurrent threads available by default. But if you deployed OBM on a remote backup machine, for example, if you use the 1,000 mailbox example, you could divide the 1,000 mailboxes into 5 separate backup sets of say 200 each, and can run 5 backup sets concurrently on that machine, or even distributed over several machines if you prefer. Now, for 5 backup sets, each backup set will have 16 concurrent threads, and that is a total of 80 concurrent threads. That's the default setting. So you, in that kind of setup, it's much faster. Now, now let's talk about backup scheduling. Now, if you're installing OBM on the Exchange server, on environments with maybe a limited backup window, you may not have enough time to run both the database and MailLevel backups on a daily basis. If you have a large database, and obviously you have a large number of mailboxes, so that it may be quite tight. Time might be quite tight. So, but on the remote backup deployment, remote backup may be a good option. as you can run the MailLevel Backup remotely, while the database backup can be run within, obviously, on the server, and you can run both concurrently at the same time as well. And another advantage of remote backup deployment is the continuous backup feature can be enabled and that can run without significant impact to the Exchange server performance, as the backup jobs will utilize the resources of the remote machine. Now, let's discuss cost. Right. For on-server backup, for example, for backup of Exchange 26 DAG, now the number, as you know, the number of OBM cows is equal to the number of each DAG nodes. So if you have three node DAG, you need 3 OBM cows are required. But obviously there are no additional license costs if the Exchange 2016 server is already set up for OBM database level backup. And obviously another advantage of on-server backup is you do not need to require provisioning of an additional Windows machine. Now, for remote backup, for example, with DAG setup, you only require 1 OBM cow, regardless of the number of DAG nodes. Obviously, for remote backup, you may require provision of an additional Windows machine, and although it may be possible to reuse an additional OBM installation on the Windows machine for MailLevel Backup. Okay, let's talk about restore comparison. Now, restore mailbox items to another machine, if you're using an on-server backup, requires the installation of OBM on the new server, so you need 2 installations to do that. But on the remote backup deployment, you can easily restore items on the server without the need to reinstall OBM. You simply enter the details of the login credentials of the new Exchange server to perform the restore. But obviously, for remote restore, restore performance can be affected by network performance issues between the remote backup machine and the Exchange server, if you're connected over the internet, for example. Okay, so next, let's go through quickly a few common or best practices and recommendations. I think number 1, I think Exchange server obviously should be protected by both MailLevel and database backups for complete and flexible data recovery solution. And also your Active Directory server obviously should be protected by regular Windows system backup, at least 1 backup every 2 weeks. For backup of large number of mailboxes, consider deploying OBM on the remote backup machine instead of on the Exchange server itself for better backup performance and to minimize any unnecessary loading on the Exchange server. If you're doing a remote backup, the remote backup machine should be on the same LAN as the Exchange server for optimal backup and restore performance. To provide your clients with maximum data protection and flexible recovery options, it's recommended to configure at least 1 offsite or cloud destination and at least 1 local destination for fast recovery for your backup sets, and to obviously run them concurrently. And last but not least, remember to perform regular restores to a test environment to ensure the validity and integrity of your MS Exchange MailLevel backup data. Okay, now I'm going to quickly go over a demonstration of the new remote deployment setup for. Okay, so basically we have OBM installed. Backup OBM installed on a Windows 2008 machine, and we're going to connect to create a backup set and connect to a standalone Windows 2016 server. So I'm logged into my OBM. So I'm using the latest version, 7.15.0.20. So backup sets. So I'm going to create a new backup set. So let's label this Exchange 2016 mail. Say remote. This is a remote backup. So I'm going to say 4. My lucky number 4. Okay. So backup set type. Drop down. I'm just going to select MS Exchange MailLevel Backup. Now, as OBM is not installed on the Exchange servers on the remote machine, so it can't auto detect the Exchange server version. So we have to manually select that. So drop down and we'll select Microsoft Exchange Server 2016. Now, once you select it, you have to enter the host name. Since we're connecting remotely, you have to enter the host name of the Exchange server and the user credentials, the Windows user credentials. So let's do that right now. Okay, host name. Sorry, oops. Once you enter that, press test and you'll verify the login credentials. Take a moment. Okay, test successful. Okay, so we can move to the next step. So press next. Now OBM will now log into the Exchange server. So it's logged in, and as most of you may be familiar with, you show this is the mailboxes. So you click here to expand the mailboxes. You'll show the list of mailboxes visible available on the Exchange server. And here, click on public folders. It'll show all the public folders available. Okay, click show emails, and you'll show the details of each folder. For example, this is public folder mails. Now, if you want to back up all the mailboxes, you just click here and you'll select all the mailboxes. But today we're just going to back up. We're just going to select one. So, for example, I just select this one. Obviously, you can expand the mailbox, and you can select or deselect any folders you don't want to back up. For example, I don't want to back up my junk email or my deleted items. So I can select those. Once you finish, just press next to continue. Now, schedule backups. We're not going to do schedule backups today, so I'm just going to skip this. Press next. Okay, destination. So I'm going to add one destination, CBS, just for this demo. And press next. Now, encryption. Now this, obviously, my CBS has been set up to use a user password as default encryption. So we press next, and they'll ask you to confirm the encryption key. Let's press confirm. Okay. So backup sets created. So let's just press backup now, and the backup will hopefully run. Okay, backup completed. Now this, okay, so this is just creating a backup set for remote, backup set for standalone Exchange. Now let's do one for Exchange DAG setup. Okay, same procedure again. Just go into backup sets, create backup set, and now I'm going to create Exchange 2016 DAG mail. Remote 4. Now, obviously, backup set type again. Select Exchange MailLevel. Again, you need to manually select the Exchange version since we're doing it remotely. So we're going to select Exchange Server DAG. Okay, as you can see, it's asking you to enter the DAG member host name. So we're going to connect to a 2-node Exchange DAG backup. So we're going to enter two host names, IP addresses of each node. So it's 80.6.81 for node 1. Oops, 6.81 for node 1. Press add. And the second one, 10.20.6.82 for the second node. Okay, and now we enter the Windows authentication for the DHE. MN. Okay, once we do that, again we press the test button. It will validate the login credentials for the DHE setup. It should take a moment, and that's completed. Once it's completed, we just click next to continue. Now it's going to log on to the DHE server again. It will show mailboxes, and it will show public folders. Again, we'll just select one mailbox to backup, show mails, we'll show the mails, and then we will unselect the deleted items and the junk mail, since we don't want to back these up. Press next. Okay, we won't set up a schedule for this, so we just press next. Again, we'll just back up to CBS. It's okay. Next, encryption key, yes, we use this setting, customize setting. Next, confirm. Done. So just back up and then back up from the mailboxes from the DHE. Okay, very simple. Okay, so backup's completed. Now, next, we mentioned. Now we'll go for a quick restore scenario. Now, you remember my first example? I backed up, obviously backed up some mail from a standalone Exchange server. Now, what we're going to do now, I backed it up from this Exchange server, this host. Now, what we're going to do is we'll restore mail to another host, for example, to a standby host. So basically, we're going to enter the host name of our new host, say 21. I'm going to enter the login credentials of the host. Press test to verify the login credentials. That's correct. So we're going to save this. Okay. Now we're going to restore. So we're going to go to restore. Now we're going to use, this is our backup set. Okay. So we're going to say we're going to store some mail from this mailbox. Okay, and we're going to restore it to another alternate mailbox on another Exchange server. Next, so I want to do that. I'll restore it, say, to mailbox called Steve. Next, logged into Steve now. So he doesn't have anything in inbox, but when I press restore, the mails will be restored to Steve's inbox. So let's go next. Temporary folder. Now next to that, okay, that's okay. So we press restore. And it's going to restore mails to the new server. Okay, once that's done, so the mail's done. So as you can see in the inbox, the mail items obviously magically appeared immediately. Okay, so basically this is the demonstration for the remote deployment and obviously the remote restore. Okay, so key takeaways. Okay, so I think we have, for Exchange MailLevel 2016 MailLevel, I think we have an easy to set up, fast and reliable backup solution. 2, I think we have flexible deployment options to cater for different environments. And 3, there's the best option for backup of large number of mailboxes.